in our first best of 7 of the day. Again, this is one of the maps that's been played the least. It is basically a more macro-friendly asset plant in terms of its layout. So let's see what happens as to the bottom right-hand side. Our blue Protoss player. This is classic. And the top left-hand side, our red Zerg player is Reynor. As we get this set up, we get this ready to go. A hatchery will drop down on the natural expansion to get things started up here. And we'll be off to a fairly regular start, it seems, for the first minute or two of this PvZ. Again, yesterday, Reynor with an incredible performance against Innovation, 3-2 in an epic series. It really was an epic series. Meanwhile, Classic played against Mana. I think had a bit of an easier time. It wasn't quite as epic of a series, the PvP, but Classic did play very well, and he had... yeah, he got rewarded for his play. He played aggressively, he played well defensively. He got caught off guard one game, but overall just looked like the better player in the round of 8. Again, Reynor again really slugged it out against Innovation, and that was a real mix of matches. From mixing in some cheese play in a couple of the matches, through to macroing like a god in some of the others. He played against Mech, he played against Bio. So he was able to really showcase an excellent set of abilities yesterday, and that's what gets me super excited for this ZVP, because yes, Classic is an absolute god, but I really do believe that Classic is going to be tested by Reynor today. I think Reynor is going to bring the pressure. I think Reynor is going to change it up game to game, and yeah, I think he's going to be able to really make a series out of this best of 7 as well. I love the fact it's best of 7, guys. I mean, hopefully we get some epic games. Last time, in our Team Liquid Map contest number 4, we had this same format for the semi-finals, best of 7s into best of 9. We had 2 series go 4-2, and then the best of 9 went to all 9 games, so we really had a bit of an epic there last time around. Let's hope for more of the same today. And again, it would be great to see some of these series going the distances. Zerglings moving around and picking up a pylon. Job well done. Newt's Carapace is about halfway done. Robo facility on the main base, so it is going to be Classic going straight towards an Archon drop here for our first game. So going straight towards this as the Newt's Carapace just over halfway done. So Reynor going to get himself that Overlord speed ready to roll. Dark Shrine dropping down. Robo facility also about halfway along here so far. The Adept shading down to the bottom right hand side of the map. And we just wait to see Reynor's response to this incoming Archon drop play. I mean, typically the Lair and the Rotron will start in the next 30 seconds against this. And he does have the Nubitized Carapace, so he can scout what's going on. Of course, that said, he has spent gas on the Nubitized Carapace as well, so looks as though that's actually not going to bother him too much. He still is able to start the Lair pretty much right away. But of course, that is an investment, right? So you invest money to be able to say, oh, well, okay, cool, I've got, I'm able to, see what's going on, but for that information, you're then a little bit further behind yourself in terms of being able to defend things. But again, being able to set up perfectly against what you're going up against is obviously very nice. So we'll see how much Reynor uses that throughout this series, because it might not be something he commits into every single game here. It might just be something, especially for some of these larger maps, where he's trying to look in towards the main base, etc. As we do have a couple extra gateways coming up here in the main base. That Dark Shrine is about to complete. Rotron from Reynor going to be finishing up as well in the back of the Natural. So that finishes up too. And we also have this Warp Prism coming along to the top side. Again, a few more Roaches, the Queen getting set up, getting established here. As we do see 4 DTs going to start warping in. So the few DTs are going to start pressing forwards and trying to see if they can apply a little bit of pressure. At the same time, the 2 Adepts will go in towards the Natural. This has become a very common 1-2 maneuver as of late. These ATs are starting to pick up quite a bit of damage, actually. They get themselves a Queen, and it's the Adepts that are still not cleaned up over in the natural, so 6 workers going down. And Classic finds some very good damage here, and of course now the Archons morph in, and now this pressure will just continue, so more pressure to be had still, as we do have the Archons. Well, they are actually found by the Roaches, but that means they're just going to pop up and they are going to be able to fight those Roaches back. Nice for the Roaches to get a lot of damage on one of the Archons, at least if there was just a few more Roaches here, would have probably had a kill. And that Roach speed coming up in the back of the natural here, the Warp Prism from Classic dropping forwards, and the Roaches spread themselves out to fight against this. And there's the Queen able to push the Warp Prism away through the top side. Forge drops down in the main base from Classic as well, so going to be getting this up and running. And as the Mortal comes up, the Charge comes up, all of this getting going again. There's 2 more gateways on the 3rd base. And these Zerglings of Reynor is just going to show up, and they are going to nibble their way through this pylon. So pylon going to take a little bit of damage right there. Again, there's that Dark Temple warping in defensively, so the 3rd base will be kept pretty safe. Reynor has been pretty good in continuing to drone. Oh, but a DT in his main is going to catch him a bit off guard, and he has to run his drones away from there. So that's costly, and that's another Queen kill. I mean, these really do start to add up, these Queens that he's losing. And too many losses makes the follow-up attacks obviously so much more difficult to truly hold on to. Did you see this finally being cleaned up? Creep here, spread here from Reynor pushing out in towards the center. Some creep to press out also over the right-hand side. These Archons will find themselves an Overlord kill, so Overlord already dropping down here. Bane and Nest from Reynor starting up in the main. And again, this Overseer of Reynor coming through the main base, through the natural expansion. And we are just going to be seen again. Sentry the Stalker able to push this away with relative ease to begin with. Contaminate the +1 attack upgrade. So just trying to slow Classic down wherever possible as well. With that Bane and Nest about to finish up in the main, he's going to be... well, he's going to have a little bit of something to help him deal with this attack. The force fields are going to be critical for Classic to be able to shut this down. And Classic is moving across. He has 63 probes, so Classic is, taking gases. He's ready to move into the next stage of the game beyond this as well. This push here, clean up some creep. We'll see if he really wants to push in, but I think a lot of it's just about forcing units out of Reynor so that he's not just purely droning up, carefree so far. There are 8 Zealots now warping in here from Classic, so 8 Zealots warping in. They're going to start pressing forwards. A couple of Crows of Bars going to drop down, and oh my god, hits a couple of sentries already. That's a really good job, well done. I mean, Classic's actually committing to this. I wasn't convinced he would, although I was talking about how nice those Banes might be, but no Banes actually came up just yet. We do see Lings on the way out, but they're going to have to be very careful. They don't even have a Ling speed, actually. Corrosive Bar misses the Warp Prism, but the Warp Prism's so far away, these Archons are going down without really any way to sort of lift them up or micro them to safety. 10 workers lost here, but as Reynor presses back forwards, I feel like those Immortals are doing a lot of damage to the hatchery. Reynor has to be careful. Now he can't really back away too much more often, otherwise Classic's just going to straight up kill the hatch. I kind of feel like this started really well for Reynor, but maybe just too much damage taken overall. There's another set of Zealots warp in. What a read by Classic to commit to this fight if it's going to end the game. The Corrosive Piles! Oh my god, they didn't come down at the same time, so the Warp Prism sneaks away as well. It gets worse and worse here as Reynor is going to overrun this army. In the end, I mean, it's just so many workers lost, but Classic's going to target down the hatcher as well, so he gets a hatch kill on top of this. I think Reynor, it gets worse and worse for him, right? Because he loses the hatchery, he's lost 21 drones. Yes, he survives, but I guess as well, Classic's army was expensive, and it was completely cleaned out here, so that's something to keep in mind also. Wow, I mean, this was honestly just a very, very exciting way to start this off, because Classic now, it's kind of tough to say how this is going to turn out. Reynor is moving around to the left side. I think Classic has just dealt enough damage, right? I think the drone losses are a bit too high here. And so I think Classic should be able to make this work out. As we see Warp Prism into the main base, going to deal a little bit of damage to these couple of Queens. Spore Crawler is going to get picked off as well. And again, Roaches and Ravages from Reynor pressing into the main base. This Queen going to be nabbing away at that Warp Prism as well. Going to push this away. And again, just going to be seeing the DT here, picking up a few of these drones on the natural expansion. So the Immortals continue to hit against this hatchery, so quite a bit of damage dealt as we do see Zerglings actually getting to surround there. Still slow Lings, by the way. I think he just completely forgot he doesn't have Ling speed, because obviously at this stage he's been making, Bane speed already. He already has +2 melee started a long time ago. And he already made some lings earlier, just again, obviously forgot that he didn't have ling speed, and that is a little bit painful for him. Classic. Started off with some early damage here with them, couple of adepts, and he's just rolled with it, and now he's in a fantastic position. His +2 attack is about to finish. He'll have Storm as well for this incoming attack. And with this combination of units, I feel like Classic should just be able to get in here and overrun as the Zealots go charging forwards. They're going to go after these rocks and try and work this down. And again, a couple more crosser bars dropping in, trying to see what's going on. What's up with my microphone? Away as well. It gets worse. Oh yeah, sorry guys. I don't know what it is, that little static crackling sound. It's just something that keeps happening. It'll get fixed hopefully sooner rather than later. I'll be changing back to a different version of XSplit soon that should fix it, so it'll be after this after today. So again, apologies for that. It just kind of appears and then it disappears. Anyways, Classic's been in fact attacking into this. A few corrosive bars have been dropping down and connecting, but the Zealots on the right side clean up a whole ton of drones. I mean, there goes the hatchery once again. There's just no way Reynor had enough to defend in both locations. As we're going to see, Archon's going to pick this off. Another couple Archons going down. Zealots are going to charge in from a couple sides, and Classic is going to be able to pick up this game number 1 of this best of 7. As we kick this off to the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player from Makers, this is Classic. Up 1-0. As to the top left, our red Zerg Reynor for game number 2. Okay, can he fight back? Avant-Garde is another one of these larger maps. It's a very cool map because it's got these mineral blockers. And these mineral blockers actually go between the natural and the third base. So, yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because it does create a lot of different things. There is, by the way, minerals blocking the gases on the back here. And with minerals blocking the gases on the back, it's very expected that Classic will probably expand here to begin with, and then take this back base a little bit later in the game, probably as a third nexus. It can also make it very difficult for Reynor to scout that base, because this is an air blocker down here, so actually it's very difficult to get an overload down in the bottom right. So it really hides away a lot of information for Reynor in terms of being able to identify what the follow-up is, identify how much of a commitment the attacks are, and so on and so forth as the probe. Here from Classic, moving into the main base now. Gas in the pool just starting. Obviously, this probe is just going to actually already mine minerals, so that was a bit of a mistake. Usually, you don't aim to mine minerals here. You just sort of nibble and try and push the drones around different mineral patches, kind of force them to go in different locations. Probe here from Classic into the back of the base now, and we do see the hatchery dropping down on this low ground. So that's going to be finishing up in just a few moments as the Nexus from Classic also coming in. Another assimilator in the main, so all of this getting set to go. Classic will already start a Pylon in the back, so interesting. I wonder if he's just afraid of maybe something. I don't know actually what you could be afraid of back here. Maybe he just wants to hide his tech back there, actually. That's a pretty good reason to put the Pylon back there alone. You know what we haven't really seen on this map, but on any of these maps, by the way, as the Stargate comes down, we haven't really seen any critters. I feel like usually in the TLMCs we talk about the critters that are on the maps and stuff. I feel like none of these maps have little critters or anything. Is that just me? Have you guys noticed any of them? Very interesting, as you see some lings here from Reynor coming down to the bottom right-hand side. And depth out in the center as we do have the Stargate going to finish up in a few moments from Classic. So that's going to be done in just a little bit here. A couple of lings are going to split away, some into the third base, some up into the main. I say the third base, this is obviously the natural at the moment, but you know, it's on these kind of bases, on these maps where you kind of set up in this sort of style. This in a way is kind of the natural. It's kind of weird. I guess that's the in base. I guess it almost is the third in a way. I'm going to be very interchangeable with the naming of these bases anyways. It's there's no kind of defined way to take them. Reynor does also expand out the front and then in the back. That's pretty typical for Zerg because, again, as a Zerg player, you really do want to set up in a way that gives you this, you know, again, it hides information from the Protoss. Basically, you can't see the saturation on the third base and so on. And it just means you get this base down already. Boom, creep tumor is already out, is pushing forwards. If this base was still built, you don't have this creep out in the front already, right? So that's obviously a bit more of a problem. That creep going to go forwards a little bit there. 7 drones on the way up. As this Oracle comes up to the top side of the map, so Classic bringing the Oracle through to the top. And Oracle up to the top side. Generally seen them trying to see what's going to happen. The Oracle's just going to fly in towards the main. Going to be able to pick up a couple of drones. No, it actually doesn't, but I kind of was expecting this to... I was kind of expecting this to happen though, right? I was kind of expecting a couple of drones to go down there. Not quite happening. Well, forward Twilight and a robot facility. Classic just goes up into third base. Again, playing to the map at the moment. No real surprises. 7 more drones for Lords of Lair. All of this coming up at the moment as we do see again a few lings sat at the front. Nice network and a Rotron here from Reynor. As we do see the Phoenix going to lift up a Queen. This Queen's going to push that Phoenix back a little bit, so he's going to get aggressive, Reynor. I mean, in the face of, Classic's greed, it could definitely work out. Although Reynor, I mean, I say he's getting aggressive. He actually goes up to 65 drones. It's not like he's going to have a ton of units. So maybe just some more so kind of harassing Niduses here. Or anything else. He actually sets up, for a moment, it was another Nidus. Now he gets the infestation bit. I wonder if he was meant to build... No, he is going to Nidus into the main. Okay, well, at the same time, the Oracles do pop in. Ooh, 4 drones for the Oracle going down. Did he scout the Nidus as well? Yes, so it gets the scout there. And as Nidus is about to finish up, Classic pulls all his probes again for Reynor. This is very non-committal. He's just going to get a few Zerglings out, and they're going to go for a few probe kills. And he's going to get a few workers out of this, absolutely. 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is actually really good for Reynor. 10 workers killed and more. Oh my god. And that was just the start, because soon he's going to start making Swarm Hosts. And once he starts making Swarm Hosts, those Niduses are going to be even scarier. Wow, 12 workers down at the start here. Bad thing for Reynor is there's a Phoenix out, and the Phoenix will hunt down Overlord, so his future Niduses won't get in the base, but that's okay, because he does have lings to play with on the map, and all you need is the Nidus to come down here, and you can, Swarm Host into the main. Nidus come down over here, and you can Swarm Host into the natural, for example. This base is pretty safe, I mean, that's kind of a guarantee. Oh man, Classic just doesn't see this Nidus that's popping up. It is about to pop, but again, his units just aren't quite in the right place. The Swarm Host will be out and into that in a moment. Reynor taking a 4th base at the same time. I mean, even just the initial probe kills here has put him into a very good position. 4 results on this hatch. I actually don't think there's anything to defend this. The 4th is actually just going to straight up get cancelled. Now a few more units coming over again. Swarmers are starting to pop out of this base, and I'm going to start sending some locusts to the main base now. Again, nothing really to deal with this. Just an Oracle and a Phoenix patrolling around. Going to try and set up a stasis ward. I don't think the locusts are going to go down over there. Okay, well, nice. He sends 1 locust down onto it anyways. Really well dealt with. This is going to get 3, 4 probes and some damage onto the Nexus. Actually, that goes a long way because now the shields are going on the Nexus. That's essentially half dead already. Oh, no, an Immortal gets caught out of the front. Well, the Lings will be able to bring it low enough so that the Roaches can finish that off. Nice play by Reynor. Nice catching. And it feels like Classic in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Things are going a little bit wrong so far. Again, this army of Classic up the left-hand side. We see these Roaches backing away as well. Classic is just going to kind of go for this. But if the Swarm Hosts are going to be aggressive right now, well, it's kind of a multi-pronged sort of thing, right? I mean, we also see a Wall Prism over here. Do the Swarm Hosts want to go for this? Okay, they will. So they're going to kill a base. But how much damage is Reynor going to take trying to clean up this army? He's going to jump on this pretty quickly here. Good force fields. The Ling's got 1 sentry in the front. There goes the Locust onto the ground. They're just going to get probes initially. He's going to start targeting the Nexus. Is that soon enough? I don't think so. The Locusts are going to expire. The Nexus survives. 6 probes is nothing compared to the damage being done to Reynor's bases at the moment. Reynor absolutely needed to kill this Nexus, I think. Put the Classic down at 2 bases. Problem was he just wasn't paying attention to the low because he was looking at all of the fights happening across the map. Reynor's still in a good spot, don't get me wrong, 115 to 45 army supply, but it definitely was dangerous there for a moment or two. Especially when a lot of his supply is swarm hosts, and so he doesn't have a lot to straight up fight with if the swarm hosts have, fired across the map. Again, just going to be seeing another Archon morphing in as we do see Army of Reynor pressing forward. Is going to try and push down in towards the base here in a sec. I mean, this time it's a full-on frontal attack. Roaches and Ravagers going to be joined by a bunch of Locusts as they swarm up into the skies, and they're going to be able to press on through. They're already dropping down to make claim to these couple of Immortals. The Archon going down as well. This entire army of Classic is disappearing. It looks like we're going to have a very convincing fight here from Reynor. Going to be able to just clean this up. No real problems at all, and that should be just about it. Stalker, a couple of these Immortals going to go down as well. Again, all together done. I mean, a Colossus pops out too. It just feels a little too late for that. Obviously, right now it's just a few Roaches and Ravagers fighting, but obviously very soon it is going to be that wave of Swarm Hosts ready to go again. They're on their way back as the Locusts are going to be off cooldown, and that is something that Classic should not be able to defend here in any way, shape, or form. So these Locusts are going to be pretty deadly. Reynor sends a few drones to the middle of the map so you can rally across the map more quickly as well. And again, those Swarmers look as though they're just going to go diving straight across into the natural. There is 2 Colossus. I mean, it's decent splash damage, but I don't think it's enough to really do anything here. As here we go, Locusts across into this base. Meanwhile, the Ravagers and Roaches press up. Again, these Locusts drop down. They're going to do so much damage. Even if they don't kill the army, they're going to get the Nexus. They're just going to get the Robo as well. So one of the Robo facilities of production is now shut down. Reynor playing safe by getting the Spire. He's just going to make sure here that he can get himself in towards a... he can build Corruptors and so on, so that's pretty nice. He actually did lose his Nidus network to the attack previously, so that's why he's rebuilding one. Now he's going to be able to put this down over on the right-hand side. Again, just anything to help him reinforce this. He is losing a few of his units again. Some Lings running in from the back. I mean, you know what? Classic's doing a lot better against this than I thought he would. He's able to make a lot of the trades that I feel like just shouldn't have been happening. Oh my god, all of those Locusts land down on a single Zealot. Well, fortunately for Reynor, he's able to pick off one of the Colossus too, so he's taken down some of the real threats in all of this. As we are going to be having again, this Ravager, this Roach going to be finishing, popping out of that stasis. A couple of Zealots pressing through. The Locusts are going to be able to, well, not do too much, I guess. They actually just expire. But, yeah, I mean, all said and done, it is Reynor who is on the verge of a victory here. Looking to tie us up after 2 games in this best of 7. Looking to tie us up. That Phoenix is lifting Queens, but not really doing much else. Swarm Hosts are back in town. And we even have some Banelings this time that may try and go towards the army. We'll see what he does with the Swarm Host Locust. Maybe to the main base? Definitely a possibility rather than just fighting straight up. Again, he's got these Banes on the left-hand side. And, well, Colossus do a little bit to those, but then the Banes do get in here and actually very nearly blow up the Colossus. Nice War Prism lift up to minimize the damage taken. You got a lot of probes from Classic going down the main. Again, Reynor kind of targets the Nexus a bit too late, but Classic just knows he's bleeding out in this without really getting. As we're starting off to the bottom left-hand side. Our red Zerkion Zeta Orion. This is Reynor. At the top right-hand side, our blue Protoss player from Makers Classic. Okay, so getting this set up and ready to begin. Let's see what's going to happen here. As we do get into Zeta Orion for map number 3 of this series. Forge, Gateway, dropping on down. The Forge obviously creates some interesting opportunities across the map from Classic, who, as he brings this probe to the low ground, is likely looking to set up a bit of a cannon rush to deny this hatchery. So, already dropping down pylons over here, and obviously Reynor will not see this as two overlords are out in the center of the map. Here we go, going to see the 3rd pylon here in a moment, and that's where the cannons can obviously start. Well, doesn't necessarily need to build another pylon. Yeah, he can go cannon, then the pylon to wall this off. Nope, sees the drone. So he instantly... Oh, he kind of walls himself out. Okay, he gets back in there, and he will be able to build the cannon here. And he does. Ooh, that was an interesting way to get pushed out there. So the cannon on the way up, that's not going to be touchable, as we're going to see. Ooh, doesn't get that spine crawler, though. Starts up a second cannon, so the second cannon kind of walls in the first one. Another probe coming over as well. Can he get something else on the back here? I think out of reach of the pylon, the creep spread is now there, so it's going to be a little bit tough. He gets one more cannon to the far left side. And now a couple of lings are out, so this is pretty much it. I think that cannon on the left goes down. Ooh, doesn't even get cancelled there. So Reynor, I mean, he's building 4 spines to deal with this. Obviously, it's a commitment from Classic, but he's already gone into a Robo, a Warp Gate. He's already transitioning through, while, again, Reynor has all of these spine crawlers building. They're going to try and come through and to break this down. And his cannons are doing pretty decent damage to this hatchery. I'm not convinced this spine crawler on the left-hand side is going to reach those cannons. I mean, okay, he's just going to go for the pylons. Ooh, this is going to get pretty close, though. Because this pylon on the left isn't taking too much damage. Now he's going to go for it. The cannons are going to target the hatch. Okay, with the lings, it is going to be enough, but it was still close. 239 health left on it when the cannons get empowered. Obviously from Classic back at home, though, he does not have a Nexus, so he's going to play a 1-base style here. Robo Facility on the way up. With 3 gates in total, I mean, this is something which Reynor will see. So if Classic wants to expand here, it's going to be a very late expansion. It's going to be a very late expansion, as you see the pulling speed coming up at the moment. Those other Zerglings slow currently, moving back down the bottom left-hand side. The Adept going to cancel its Shade. That War Prism coming through. I mean, can you just play 3 gates here against this many Lings and the Spine Crawlers as well? There's a lot of Spine Crawlers in play. I feel that makes it even more difficult here, all said and done, as we do see these Lings of Reynor turning back around, going up through the center of the map. Ling speed going to be finishing up here in a few moments' time. There's the Rotron also starting for Reynor in the natural expansion, so he's preparing himself, but I think Classic is very happy just to start transitioning through here, actually. He can lift those units to the high ground if he wants to. Does he have anything to defend on the other side? He is going to warp in some sentries. Obviously, he does not want to get this base cancelled because he is obviously very delayed on taking it already. Cancelling it would be even more disastrous for him. The Warp Prism is forced to come back with these Zerglings coming across, and it was going to get... I don't think it was ever really in danger because the sentries obviously can force field the Lings away if needed to help buy a little bit of extra time. So yeah, I don't think this was ever actually really in danger with Classic responding the way he did. He's going to get an overload in the main base now, lifting up his units to chase this down. Obviously, Reynor's seen everything that's going on. It does turn into just a very weird game at this point. Forge being used for the +1 attack upgrade. And Reynor starting to take that worker lead, 40 against 25. So his worker count looking good, but we'll see what Classic can maybe do to try to slow that down a little bit. Reynor is still just throwing out a lot of drones at the moment. Obviously from Classic back at home, though, he does not have a... God, my microphone's really messing up here, guys. Sorry, I don't know what I can do. I'm going to try lower the mic volume a little bit. Hopefully just a little bit. Hopefully it's not going to be too much. I don't know, like, it feels as though it wasn't actually too bad earlier, so I don't know why it's suddenly doing this a lot now. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Sorry, guys. I'm going to try to change some of the levels and stuff. Maybe it's going to help a bit. I don't know. Very frustrating, obviously, because... well, it's just very frustrating little situation. There's nothing else I can really do on the fly. I'm just thinking if I have like another microphone I could plug in. Maybe I could plug in another microphone to help you guys out. Maybe I can do that after this break. Next time we have a break, I'll plug my other mic in just to try and do something different for today. Just to try and fix the microphone. If it's being too much of an annoyance. Zerglings will get into the main base, so he's going to deal some damage on the other side. The Warp Prism's just not going to do enough. And once again, Swarm Hosts and a Nidus Network are going to be the choice here right away. Warp Prism moving back around through the top side. You see the Adepts and a couple of sentries setting up at the front here as well. And it just feels like Classic hasn't got enough really to do with this. Again, his Nexus was just so late that he was just missing so much economy. He's going to be seeing this army of Classic continues to gather on the natural Warp Prism, chasing down this Overseer. So Overseer gets chased all the way up to the top, and Just going to be seeing Lings and Roaches pushing through the center of the map now. Again, a couple of Adepts, a Zealot, some Sentries, and a couple of Stalkers too, kind of gathering together. This entire army setting up to push the upper right-hand side. Blink is going to complete shortly as we have the Swarm Horse starting to pop out. A couple of force fields are really nice because he can kill the Niders and stop the units getting back in. The Locusts land on the army though. It's a really nice idea from Classic, but it's not enough, and Reynor will take the 2-1 lead in the game number 4. Let's have a little bit of a look to see what we can make happen. No issues, not awful, good, fine. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. So, to the bottom right-hand side, our red Protoss player. This from Makers. It is Classic. Down currently 1-2. Needs to start getting something back on the board here. Otherwise, he's going to be... I mean, Reynor could be on match point after this game. Top left-hand side is going to be our blue Zerg player, Reynor. Alright, so... setting up into this. And the hatchery dropping down on the natural to get us started here. Alright, so setting this up and having a look to see what things are going to be looking like in the next few moments. And look to see how things are going to go. Podcast's a very fun map as we do have a hatch block coming down from Reynor, so that's something we've seen Zergs doing a lot lately. Trying to block this hatchery and just throw off the timings of the Protoss player quite a bit. So yeah, hatchery coming down. Now this map's interesting, it has these mineral walls here. We're still yet to see this base being mined and mining out to open even more pathways on the map. That's something we really haven't seen yet. But, yeah, at the moment we do see the Zealot and 5 probes able to come in and able to clean up this hatchery. So, able to pick this off. And we do see the Adept Chrono boosting out as well. The Adept's going to be coming through. Nexus starts up on the natural expansion. And again, Assimilator number 2 in the main base. So just a little bit of a delay on the expansion. Really nice because Reynor still has the drone up here. And this drone can move around for quite a while, scouting and being annoying. Giving the Protoss a taste of his own medicine, you know, messing up that mineral saturation a little bit. Trying to push the drones around, so... oh, probes around. So little things here from Reynor. And again, a very cute little opening. Again, we see this more often nowadays than we used to. I mean, players like Blah used to proxy hatch every game, but now, like, a lot of Zergs are doing this in ZVP and trying to just throw their Protoss off early on. I feel like it's getting to that point, though, almost where Protoss have had a lot of practice against it, and so they're figuring out the better ways to deal with this. And so as they figure out better ways to deal with this, it maybe becomes a bit less worthwhile to keep on doing a lot of the time. As you see, good save on the drone there in the natural. In the main base, another good save, a Spore Crawler built, and this drone will go down. So 2 drones lost to the counterattack, not too much of a problem. Yeah, good opening here on both sides. I mean, kind of Classic does what he's meant to do on the counterattack, right? He picks off a couple of drones, he gets a few lings, forces a couple more lings as well, so it does slow down that drone count as now Reynor drops his 3rd hatchery into position. The Stargate coming down as well. So again, that Stargate up and running in the main base. Phoenix going to be on its way up to begin with. Gateway in the front, completing this wall off on the natural expansion. Again, Reynor bringing some Zerglings down to the bottom side. And again, with the Evolution Chamber coming up from Reynor in the natural. Looks like he's probably going to go into a pretty fast melee upgrade here. Usually an Evo Chamber this fast in CVP means melee and building up those upgrades early so you can play some sort of a Ling Bane style. And then the +2 on the Lings and the Banes are very powerful because then you can one-shot probes running into mineral lines, etc. So really looking to power up these Lings most likely. And there it is, the melee upgrade starting. As Classic builds a Twilight Council. And it's a nice large map. The 3 extra gateways though, it feels like this Twilight Council is very committed to something. Like maybe Glaives, right? I mean, it doesn't. I was just trying to kind of run through my head like there's no robo facility, right? So charge is very unlikely. Blink isn't really a thing in PvZ, so with 3 extra gateways, it already did feel a lot like Glaives. I was a little late to say it, but yes, there it is. Resonating Glaives, the Adept upgrade. So very Adept heavy here, and he'll be warping a lot more of those. Behind this, the Robo could add a Prism, but might just go straight into an Immortal to set up into a follow-up attack, because whenever you open Glaives, you always have the first wave of Adepts, and after those Adepts, you have this follow-up timing where all of a sudden, you kind of got, a couple of Immortals, and you've just got so many units to really kind of make something happen. The Adepts act as a really good buffer, and because the Adepts are likely to deal damage initially, it can really offset the Zerg and make it very tough for them to find a way to defend against the Resonating Glaives attack as well. Yeah, +1 melee coming up here, though, from Reynor. Now, that's actually going to help a lot against these Adepts when he gets a surround, if he gets a surround. There's a lot of Adepts. Reynor's going to see this now, and he might just, I think, immediately add a Baneling Nest. I think he was going towards a Baneling Nest eventually anyways, but right now, you can't defend this with just Lings and Queens, surely. I mean, he's going to give it a good shot, apparently. More Lings on the production tab. The Adepts start shading through. The problem is these Queens are very immobile compared to the Adepts. Are they going to commit to this shade? Yeah, they are. They're just going to go for this here. They're not quite stacked together, but they do have their backs up against this chasm, which means that they are going to be able to minimize surface area from the Lings. The only thing I don't like about this fight is that he kind of shaded into the Queens, right? And so the Queens are able to do a lot of damage, but it does allow him to start trading right away. And now as he shades into the main base, Classic is going to start dealing a lot more damage. 5 drones down already. That's going to be a nice little pick-off right there on the Phoenix that was flying around. So just shutting this down so that nothing can be kind of added on from this. All these Adepts do get cleaned out. This was more impressive than I thought it would be. A couple of Adepts on the right side too. 9 workers killed. It's still going to be tough to deal with this incoming follow-up attack. A lot of sentries already set up in the natural expansion. The second Immortal about to pop out as well. And there's the War Prism on the way with 3 extra gateways. So, again, as previously mentioned, the follow-up attack here, you can buffer with the Adepts warping in. It kind of, they act as a good buffer rather than Zealots here because you already have the Glaives. And it just works well because of the ability to be aggressive earlier. Now Reynor is adding in the Baneling Nest. He's getting into +2 melee. I'm not sure how likely that is to really come up here. He's going to try and defend this with purely Ling Bane, but I feel like he might have just taken a bit too much damage to do that because this wasn't just drones that went down. It was a lot of Zerglings that went down as well. And his drone count being reestablished was slowed also because, of course, we had, again, a lot more Lings had to be made to make sure he could turn this around. And here we go. We're just going to be seeing the units pressing up to the top side of the map. A few extra Adepts warping in, a couple of sentries too. And here we go, Adepts already shading forwards. Gonna see the Spore Crawler getting picked off here. A couple of drones gonna get shut down very quickly, so 5 workers killed already. This hatchery in a lot of trouble, getting a few shots on it. Nice force field's gonna block these Queens in a little bit. There's so many force fields to work with here. Force fields the Balins from the backside. The only risk I see right now is that maybe he needs even more force fields just because he's using so many to push these Banelings away. If these Banelings are able to connect, that could become problematic. He's using more force fields on the left. Honestly, the Bane's running in. Reynor's not paying attention, so runs into very split up units on the right. And it's a good push from Classic to even this series out 2-2 in the map number 5. Tied up 2-2. Bottom left, our red Zerg player. Reynor. Up against Blue Protoss in the top right, Classic. So getting this set up, going to have a gateway dropping down on the natural expansion here as Probe heads out to the center of the map. Heading down to the bottom left-hand side. So Probe down to the bottom left, as you do see gas and pool opening from Reynor. So a little bit different here from Reynor to get things started off. That gas pool before the hatchery is obviously a little bit safer for him. Probing around. Probe coming into the main base. You see the Overlord of Reynor heading up through the center of the map. Nexus dropping down on the natural expansion, and there is the Cybercore coming in as part of this wall-off as well. What's up, Vinferus? Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub for 9 months. Says, awesome games, Wardy. Thanks for another cool cast. I'm just going to see this probe heading up to the right-hand side. Again, a couple lings coming across the map too. Ling speed on the way up. Getting this started. As you see, the Stargate going to be the opener from Classic here. Man, 2-2, this is a real turning point in the series, of course. I mean, it's a cliche thing to say, but it truly is this sort of point where you win this game and everything is on the line in Game 6 for your opponent. And at that point, you have a bit more freedom again for yourself. You can get a bit crazy. The Stargate halfway done here. Again, Adept just going to be shading out towards the center of the map. They're about halfway done, going to be completing soon, and yeah, getting this ready to roll. Link speed going to finish up in a moment. Oracle is on its way out of this Stargate, being chrono boosted actually right away there, so it's being sped up a little bit. Again, there's that warp gate dropping down. So far, about halfway done. The Lings and Reynor running all the way up to the upper right-hand side. A couple of those drones continuing out as well. Classic goes into a Void Ray. That's very different. You don't often see a Void Ray like this. Maybe it's just because he feels like there's going to be a lot more Lings coming and he just wants the Void Ray as like a constant output of damage. So Lings continue to the upper right, and we are going to be having shield batteries finishing this wall as well. Classic playing very safe. I mean, you've got to remember this was gas pool from Reynor, so there's a lot of potential for further aggression. He actually has a lot of gas right now already because he's got the lair up. It's going to be a Hydralisk den, so he's going to rush Hydras. He's trying to drop a Lord into the main, but actually the Void Ray is now going to become very useful turning this Overlord back. So this was actually a pretty good scout and a good spot from Classic, and a good way to deny this too. So Void Ray comes in. Very nicely done. Yeah, interested to see how this Hydralisk den works out, because especially because we see Void Rays from Classic. Okay, cancels the second Void Ray. If there was another Void Ray coming up, this is obviously pretty bad, because Hydras are actually pretty good against Void Rays, believe it or not. So yeah, very, very interesting. Here's the Void Ray there. Picks up the Overlord to the left-hand side. He's still moving around in the center of the map. Twilight Council about halfway done. The Robo Facility building up as well. Plus one missile attack going to start on the Evo Chamber. The Oracle coming through in towards the main base is going to start nibbling its way through a few more workers. So 2 drones getting picked off. So 2 drones going down. Again, that third hatchery about to finish up in the next few moments. 3 more gateways coming out from Classic. So again, a few more gateways up and rolling here. Void Ray is continuing to pick its way through this hatch right now. Templar Archives dropping down in the main base as well. I mean, getting into a very weird situation altogether, right? I mean, as Hydras are out, they actually deal some damage to this Oracle, which picks up a kill on its way through the main mineral line. Those Void Rays obviously have to be careful with Hydras out as well. Man, obviously, Reynor's just playing such a low drone count game as well. He's never really fully saturated even 2 bases here so far because of the aggression he's been committing forwards to. And at this stage, I don't know what Reynor does necessarily to kind of really be aggressive. Like, what sort of attack is really going to be committed to? Like, he's making even more drones, so is he just going to get to 50 drones then cut? Because it just feels like any sort of attack is going to be weakened by the fact he's been on such low economy until now. Charge coming up with the Archon in production. Another Robo production unit on the way. Mortal number 1 of this game. War Prism's already on the map. There's a couple more drones going down. These 2 units being very annoying over here. These Lings are ready to pounce the 3rd base, but man, so many Zealots and an Archon. I don't think Reynor can achieve much right there. I'm so interested as to what Reynor's plan is in this game, because it's really been just a bit of a weird situation altogether, and it's gonna get a little bit funky. I think Classic's just really gotta say, I think Classic's leading this game at the moment, right? Because I just look at Reynor's army and I just don't see what this army does to kill Classic in the near future. Classic moves out. These Lings could maybe dart past to get the Nexus now. He's going to force the army back a little bit. Honestly, I think Reynor should be kind of happy if Classic attacks into him, because I think the best case scenario for Reynor is probably if Classic attacks into him, Reynor overwhelms him because he's just been making units. But Reynor is adding on more drones as well, so yeah, even this doesn't look too pretty. It's just going to be Classic pushing across the map, 2-base saturation, looking to put an end to this game in the next few moments. Oracle drops a Revelation, pulls back away to the left-hand side. The Zealots, Mortals, and the Archons heading down to the bottom left-hand side. War Prison, warping in 5 more Zealots. There's some damage being dealt here in the main base. The units down on the low ground, setting up here. Queen gets picked off, and again, just failing. 2 billions going down in that Zealot. These Zealots just going crazy in the main. Reynor just types GG. We don't even really get a fight out of this. He just didn't have. Let's find out. To the top right-hand side, our Red Protoss player. This, from Makers, is Classic. And the bottom left-hand side, our Blue Zerg. It is Reynor. Overlord coming up to the upper right-hand side, already moving out onto the map. Here's the probe coming forwards, is going to be dropping down a gateway. What's up, KMXSC2 coming in with the Twitch Prime for 8 whole months. Thank you very much, KMX, for the 8-month resub. Guys, we've got so many of you in here. So good to see so many of you. Whether you have a Twitch Prime to sub with or not, or if you want to show some love or you don't, the one thing I do ask you guys to do is make sure you're following the stream. We cast StarCraft 2 here every single day on the channel. We're always putting out StarCraft content, apart from when I'm away. But if I'm around, and, you know, I am around now until pretty much I go away for BlizzCon, we're going to be putting out so much StarCraft content. So the one thing I really ask you guys to do, hit that follow button, come and check out our games again in the future. We've always got great StarCraft 2 coming up, and yeah, it'd be great to see you guys again in the future for the other matches that we have on the stream. Just a spoiler of what's coming up this week. Tomorrow we've got players like Innovation, DS, Solar, Sue, and others stats in the Masters Coliseum round of 8. The day after, Masters Coliseum semi-finals. Wednesday I have the day off, it's my girlfriend's birthday, but on Thursday we have the Summer Championship from WardiTV, $4,000, kicking off with the first Korean qualifier. On Friday we have even more StarCraft in the form of WCSB stream. We're going to be covering all the games that are awesome that aren't on the mainstream. Same from Saturday. Sunday's another day off, but then Monday, Tuesday, it's another whole week. We've just got StarCraft and loads and loads of StarCraft coming up. So please, 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 guys, if you're enjoying the games, if you're enjoying the content, if you're enjoying the stream, consider supporting. Most importantly, hit that follow button. It really does, again, like you see when we're going live. And that's all I want. I just want you guys to watch StarCraft. I just want you guys to watch StarCraft. Twilight Council in the main base. As reduced T and Adept being Chrono boosted out. So that's going to pop in a moment or so. Next is going to finish on the natural, and Reynor just having a little bit of a fight to get his third hatchery down here as well. Eternal Empire is a map that is very much so focused on the concept of Cloud Kingdom. A very similar base layout to how Cloud Kingdom used to be. So it has a lot of resemblances there. And Cloud Kingdom was such an infamous map, but it doesn't work in Legacy of the Void. There's just certain things that just don't make sense, and that's why we had Galactic Process for a while, which is kind of like a Cloud Kingdom remake, but at the end of the day, I think, like, you know, sometimes, you know, the best, the best artwork is the one that copies someone else's almost, right? You know, you use something as a base and you improve it and expand on it, and I kind of think that's what Eternal Empire does. It's definitely what it tries to do. I quite like this one. As you have the Dark Shrine dropping down from Classic, so he's going straight in towards the Archon drop here again. Now, this was something Reynor really struggled with back in game number 1. The couple of Adepts that came out at the same time as the Archons were able to get a lot of drone kills, and that really made life very difficult for Reynor. I mean, suddenly you losing. I think a lot of Zergs are struggling with this in general. The fact that you have like 2 Archons to deal with, and at the same time, 2 Adepts just go running by into a completely different base where your defense just isn't set up. And those 2 Adepts don't take long to get a lot of worker kills. And that's just where the problem becomes. That's just where the problem becomes. So circling, moving down the bottom right side from Reynor, so it's going to be all the way down to the bottom. A couple of extra gateways setting up in the front, and again, just some more Zerglings moving out into the middle of the map. Dark Shrine about to complete in the next few moments, and as that finishes up, we will be able to see ourselves with this Archon drop heading out onto the map. Using the War Prism for a moment to give high ground vision to kill the Overlord here. Lings are setting up for the counter already. There's one watching the third base. I mean, there's one Stalker in the wall off, so unlikely you're going to break through there. Maybe you could actually surround this gateway, actually. Oh, the Stalker's coming out on its own. That's when these Lings are just going to strike, surely. When he sends a few of them back, he only shows a few of them. Interesting. I wonder what he's trying to hold the rest of them for. Stalker dies. Well, here's the 2 Adepts we talked about, starting to shade straight through into the natural expansion already. Roach and a Queen here, but that wasn't enough last time, so some Lings have come back to deal with this. The War Prism and the DTs get themselves a Queen kill. Lost 1 DT though, actually, so not the best scenario for Classic. Now he can't instantly warp in 2 Archons, of course, and that does take away from some of the further pressure you'd like to apply in this game. DTs are, again, just turned away from the main. 5 drones killed. A lot less damage taken than what Reynor took in the first round against this kind of DT Adept opener. So, okay. I feel like Reynor's in an okay spot. He's turned this around. Now Classic going into Immortal production though, and this is where we really see he is building a few more probes, so 49 workers. In the first game, he actually killed Reynor with a 63 probe push, which again, I think was just a sign of how much damage he dealt early on. We'll see what he does this time, how many workers he gets up to. These Lings go for the surround on the Archon and the Zealot. It's a brave play. He's going to really dive for the Archon, but I think too much damage available. Archon will survive. Could he have gotten the Nexus? Probably not. It would have been very close, so yeah, I like the idea of trying to dive on the units, but it's just not quite going to work out there. 2 Archons dropping down again. They can do very good damage to these Roaches, and with the War Prism, you can always just keep on backing away and keeping yourself very safe. Bane and Nest dropping down too. 5 workers just getting taken down again. It's a DT in this natural expansion. This is where Reynor is really starting to hurt. Bleeding off 5 workers here, bleeding off 5 workers there. That's where it gets really difficult because you just can't really deal with this damage. You know, you can't just take this damage again and again and again. It really does add up. And it really does put you in a tough spot. And there's 2 gateways in the main base. The sentries are warping in to try and pick away at this Overseer. Hey, Grang93, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for joining the Wardy family. Don't forget, as a subscriber, you get the replay packs from this tournament and everything else we've cast this week, actually, coming out tomorrow or Monday. So if you want to get your hands on these very replays, guys, subscribers or Patreon users of $5 or more, that's how you can get your hands on these replays. As you see, again, 24 more Lings in production, 4 more Ravagers coming up. Plus 1 melee going to complete shortly on the Evo Chamber as well. Zergling will go down as there's a couple of Immortals able to get a little bit of a kill there. Again, these Roaches and Ravagers able to turn the War Prism away. So the War Prism comes out through the center of the map here, and again, just going to be seeing +2 attack already starting up from Classic as well, so he's getting +2 attack. The Robo Facility is Chrono Boosting out an Immortal. And this army coming down to the bottom, we're going to see Lings, Roaches, Ravagers, and Banes. And another Immortal coming down to the natural. Do you see this army just continue to establish? Reynor It's going to be maxed out. I mean, it's the Roach Ravager Bane. It's a very aggressive composition. It's a really nice catch. But obviously, he doesn't want to send his Banelings in to kill a single Immortal. So he will just send the rest of the units over. But I actually think this Immortal's out of there alive. Wow. It's very fortunate for Classic that Reynor wasn't sending his Roach Ravager army over in that direction. Classic tries to take a very weird 4th base. Can't imagine in what world he thinks that's a good idea compared to... Oh, maybe he just thinks it's... I don't know. I feel like 4th bases are all kind of far away when you look at the overall map and the overall set of bases you want to take, I guess. So explosive files dropping down. Drones going down across the map as well, by the way. 11 workers dying to the War Prism. So Reynor is extremely committed to dealing damage with this attack. He does get 18 probes though to begin with, but he's going to lose his natural expansion. Oh man, he's pulling back home to deal with this, but... Oh, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. 7 more Zealots on the way up in this main base, so they're going to continue trying to break through. I mean, Reynor should clean this up. A shame he wasn't able to get this Nexus, because then maybe this kind of evens out a little bit. Classic's actually coming across the map, though. He's not rebuilding probes. I don't think Classic's done enough damage to just straight up win this game with a push, though. There's a lot of Roach Ravager left, and okay, I mean, there's a lot of Immortals as well. And Queen going to throw down an inject on the right-hand side. Going to be seeing a bunch of Stealths and DTs warping into the main base. Reynor never actually really sent a proper amount of units to deal with this because the War Prism never unloaded in the main, so maybe this is stat starting to do enough. Maybe this push down the right is just to, again, scare Reynor to kind of force the multitask and the multi-pronged kind of power of this army. But the thing is as well, Classic still isn't building probes. Classic still isn't building probes, then this is very, very interesting. Zealot and a DT picking away at some of these workers. The Roaches and Ravagers are able to get the DT down on the bottom side here. And again, those units just unloading in the main base. 2 more Mortals. Psystorm on the way up. +3 attack on the Forge as well. All of this coming through as the Roaches, again, get into position to push that War Prism back. We do have this Roach Ravager Baneling army repositioning itself through the center of the map now. Could potentially just go up here for a bit of a killing blow, perhaps even. Overseer hanging out for Reynor in the main base. We do see again the rest of this army coming around to the top side. Again, these Banelings also trying to see what's up. Reynor. I still like Reynor's army. I mean, now that he's dealt with the attacks across the map, I feel like his army right here and now is still very strong. And he is going to get this base of Classic. So he gets himself a kill. Now, jumping and diving in on this right now isn't necessarily necessary because he does have a little while where he's now mining off 4 bases and Classic's only mining off 2. So there is a little time in here where he's going to really benefit from that. Meanwhile, I mean, this army from Classic is coming through the center. Third Nexus now rebuilding. So Reynor just heads back home. Even more Banelings on the way up, believing that he can make this work if he continues to set this up like in this way. Believes he can clean up this army. He doesn't really have the economy to take up into anything else. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of storms available. Classic's army is very, very good. Reynor's going to need a bit of a surround, a bit of a concave to make this work at all because of those storms available. These Banes can connect on those High Templar. He is coming in from the back. Oh my god, very good storms. The Banelings get absolutely destroyed on the backside. Very one-sided fight in favor of Classic. That's just how good Classic's army is. It's extremely powerful, and those Banes on the top left, they just all got caught in the same 2 storms, and that right there is GG. Classic